All right, well, now that we've got some data from our lab experiment, let's try making a graph. So there are lots of ways to make graphs in a Jupyter notebook, and there are lots of options that can be a little bit overwhelming. So that's why I've made a library called Fitters that provides basically the essential tools you need to make a graph in Jupyter Notebook, and then start to play with the settings so that you can figure out how to perform a numerical fit to that graph. So in order to get fitters, you've got to use this command here called git clone. This is going to go to a website called GitHub, which is quickly becoming the sort of de facto repository where we get code from. And then we're going to import that library here. So you don't need to change anything about the cell. You just need to run it so that it will bring in all of that wonderful stuff here. Then you come down here. This is where we're going to use the fitters library. So we're going to use a function called linefitter, because when I graph this data, what we're doing is we're graphing the number of antinodes versus the frequency, actually, excuse me, other way around, the frequency versus the number of antinodes, because the horizontal axis is going 1, 2, 3. What I notice about these 3 dots, they make a pretty good line. Now, hopefully you've got more than 3 dots here. This is just for demonstration purposes, but 3 dots here making a pretty good line. So we're going to use the line fitter. If they didn't make a line, we would have another function to suggest for you, but line is just the exact same thing you've seen in an algebra class. It is slope times the independent variable plus an intercept. And so the intercept's job is to move the line up. Now, right now, the line is too far below because it's got a slope of 1 and an intercept of 2.7, so that puts the line way down here off screen. But if I keep dragging this up, eventually I'm going to see that line appear. So let's bring that all the way up to, let's say, 10, so that I can see the line. And then what I can do, I can play with the slope. The slope is the thing that makes it steeper if I make the slope higher, or shallower if I make the slope lower. In fact, I can even go negative to make it decrease, to make it roll downhill. This is definitely going uphill, so we're definitely going to go with a positive slope. So let's see, I'm going to get these to come off of here. There we go. And I can play around with this value until I get a nice fit to my graph here. And basically what I can read off of here is what the slope and the intercept were for this data set.